What's happening, guys? Coming at you after I uploaded a video I made last week where I emailed an inmate and told the inmate, right, about how Bryan Kohberger was crying about the noise they were making. And this inmate he happened to be a gang member. I looked it up, I sleuthed it out, I actually sent him a few dollars too. And I got a weird response on that video. My supporters, people who watch this channel, get what I was doing. It's something that I would always do. There was two things that came up. There was a couple of people that were like, "Oh, why'd you do that?" Somebody said that I was self snitching, as if stirring the pot and lying to a gang member is somehow illegal. It's ridiculous, but that's not what got me. There's a weird group of people that believe this guy was set up or framed, right? And it blew my mind. Now, I first learned of this because the video I made about emailing the gang members that he's complaining about and writing all these grievances on, I shared that video to Facebook, and I belong to a whole bunch of Facebook groups. And I typed in Bryan Kohberger and I joined all the groups. But there is a select groups that believe he was set up. Now, didn't pay any attention to it, but on that video that I made, I saw people saying that he was set up. So, and I was reading some of their comments, and it was just weird, right? So, look, I'm an open-minded person, very hard on this subject. So I look into this conspiracy. I look into this, like, what could he have been framed about? And there's a couple like different scenarios, but the majority, there's a big group of people that believe, for some odd reason, that Bryan Kohberger was the subject of an Aryan gang. So they say that they believe in some Aryan gang actually killed the victims in that case, and that they set up Kohberger. Now, I feel like I can speak on this because I've been inside a prison. I'm very familiar with gang politics, and especially this one here, being that it's Aryan. This is like the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. First off, like, murder is so hard to get away with. So let's just start here. The gang to commit murder for whatever reason that the Aryan gang members would want to kill these people, involving Bryan Kohberger, trying to get him to wear it. Like, it's hard enough for just them to do the murders. Like, that alone and not get caught is very hard. But to try to frame him, it's even more difficult. They're like subjecting themselves to get busted more by involving and trying to outsmart detectives and FBI and everything else. So it's just on that basis, this is really stupid. But and then, like, you got to think of it. If you remember the victims in this case, or just look at the victim impact panel where their family spoke, why would an Aryan gang put out and want to kill like blonde-haired, blue-eyed women? None of this makes any sense. This is all very silly, people. This is all just very, very silly to me, right? It doesn't work like that. And you people are you're cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. You got to put the cuckoo back in the clock, right? This is not making sense. This doesn't make any sense on any level you try to prove it to me. And I've actually lived this life. I know all about what you're trying to say. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't work like that. And furthermore, for these morons that believe this, that doesn't make any. So every gang, they do acts of violence, right? But this gang that they believe this ridiculous conspiracy, they have strong oaths and bylaws about hurting women, about hurting children, right? If you go to prison and you hurt women or child, you can't join that gang. They're not having it, right? And ask me how I know. They're not having it. Okay, they're just not having it. So just to do a random hit, that makes no sense. Now that's not to say that gangs don't do violent things and do murders. Sure, would the Aryan gang actually take a woman's life? Sure, I'm sure if there's a drug debt or something like that, whatever the politics are, it could happen. But some random thing, this is all stupid. These were college kids. These were came from good families. There's no scenario you can paint to make that even believable. This is all just very silly. And it's wild to me. It doesn't matter what case it is, right? This reminds me of like the Wade Wilson lonely, ridiculous TikTok wives that tried to like their panties got wet and they couldn't stop looking at their phone and it sounded like a plunger when they got up. They were doom scrolling on their phone so long, looking at Wade Wilson fantasizing. When they got up, it sounded like a plunger. Their buttocks in the seat. It's just wild to me, and it's so disrespectful. And in the Wade Wilson case, these were like he committed those murders in my city, in my county, right? One of the women he killed. The family lives 12 miles from me. It is so disrespectful to see these idiots on TikTok glamorize this guy and just fantasize about him. No, man, because in the victim impacts that in that case too, it's very sad. But it just makes me wonder, like, in both cases, like there's evidence put putting them in prison for this long time. It went through a whole court of law, a whole trial. I didn't follow the Bryan Kohberger case like in detail. I remember like during the trial there was that knife thing, fingerprints or DNA was set off. There was like a thing there, but it was proven, people. It was how do you go beyond that? It just blows my mind. These people on social media do this. I don't think you guys understand how disrespectful this is to the families. There's families that are grieving that in both cases these are borderline these are serial killers. I'm not sure about Wade Wilson, but yeah, you can put them up there with serial killers. And this is just so disrespectful to do. Like what part of this is not, what are you not understanding? It's just very, very disrespectful. And I think all of you are loony, and I think all of you are crazy. And I think that if you're watching this video still, and you are a normal person and do believe that he did these crimes and you are for the victims, please leave laughing face emojis for all these idiots that think that he got set up somehow, that this is some wild conspiracy. I'm trying to like break this down as best I can, right, within YouTube's terms of service. But I could talk about this a lot more and talk about the gang ties of this. But all I wanted to really say to my supporters, people in my community, you guys know my background. You already know. This is so stupid. That conspiracy doesn't make any sense. And if you are on the other side of things, if you think I've gotten this all the way wrong, maybe you've been to prison, maybe you know about the gangs that is in your own conspiracy. Maybe you still have some doubt in my mind. Please comment below. Or maybe there's a different conspiracy of why he's free. I would love to have some dialect with you down below. I comment to my subscribers. But yeah, people, this is wild. Why do all these fruitcakes, all these sickos, all these psychotic people who take innocent people's lives, right? Why do they? There's always like a group of people who don't believe hard facts, hard truth, reality, evidence, court of law. It's really scary. That's a scary road that we're going down. It's like they don't believe reality. And I don't know what to really say much about that, but I think this is like laughable on every aspect of it. Get a grip on life. That dude's never getting out of prison. I hope his hiney hole is this big right now, or when he goes general population, it's no more like puckered up. it's blown out. It's like a roast beef Quiznos #5 sandwich, extra roast beef, just blown out, sloppy lips. I hope it's backwards. I hope it's the chocolate starfish. I hope it puffs out backwards. I hope he just gets railroaded every day of his life. And if you got mad that I emailed the gang members to tell them that he was crying and he was the one snitching on them, if you got mad about that, I don't care. I'm for the victims. I am on the side of reality. Maybe you should check your I don't know what to tell you. I have no idea. I have no idea why I'm making this video, because most normal people are on the side of truth and on the side of reality. Bryan Kohberger is guilty. He's never get out of prison. He's not innocent, and your conspiracy will never come true. Will never come true. That's all I got, guys. What's up, guys? Hope you enjoyed the video. Do me a favor, hit that like, subscribe to my clip channel at WHITEBOYRADIO Clips, and in the description box is the link to be a member. Become a member if you can. I'll catch y'all in the next one. Stay safe, stay smart. Peace.